I am finally back from my hibernation. It is cuffing season, and I think you need me. I know it is cuffing season, but with lots of love comes lots of heartbreak, and as the seasons change, as our emotions change, I thought I'd check in with you guys and make sure you're doing okay. I don't know, unfortunately, I feel like I have a lot of experience when it comes to heartbreak and moving on, and I feel like I'm finally at the point in my life where I can laugh about it. Like, you know what I mean? I finally healed enough from all of my past traumas that I can reflect and give advice for the next generation of lovers out there like myself, or like I was at one point. I know I have a lot of energy, but I do want this video to be very serious, and I want to be very open. So I'm gonna get right to the point. I think that heartbreaks are one of those things that are very personable, and I feel like everyone likes to just pretend that everything is fine and they're not hurting when they're going through a breakup, and that couldn't be far enough from the truth. If you feel like that, I see you, and I'm really sorry. I genuinely have nothing but an aching heart really for you, because I've been there not too long ago. I feel like it's so hard to find transparency in this world in any aspect, but especially when it comes from healing and moving on from heartbreak. As always, I'm not a professional, but I do have a psychology degree, so I feel like I'm the next best thing than paying money. So the first thing I want to do today is just give my 2 cents and give you some big sister advice that I wish someone would have told me many years ago. I think the biggest piece of advice that I could give is to give yourself time to heal from the love that you lost. And even if you're the person who broke up with your partner-esque, give yourself time to heal. I think in this generation, we have access to so much instant gratification. And it's like, oh, well, I can go Bumble right now and find a new boyfriend or a new girlfriend or whatever. And it's like, slow down. Slow down, baby. There isn't a magic time frame in which all of your pain from the past will just disappear. And so many people try to make it seem like if you do X or if you do Y or you do Z, then everything is better. And I didn't ever experience that. I loved deep, I loved hard, I loved fast. And it took me a very long time to heal. And I encourage you to heal as well. Do what works for you. And with this whole magic time frame conversation, day 2, you might be ready to move on, and that's okay. Don't let anybody guilt you. Don't let anybody shame you. This is your life, and if you want to get back out there, do it. But don't let anyone pressure you into when they think is the right time, because only you and the person you were dating really know what you guys went through. And if you dated any of the guys that I've dated, sometimes they don't even know. Sometimes it's one-sided, so shit sucks. And the last thing I'm gonna say is allow yourself to find peace in your journey. Do whatever feels good for you, especially on those low days. Unpopular thing that I did, and I wouldn't recommend you repeat it, but I started a TikTok series, should we say, and it basically was day 1 of me getting over my ex-boyfriend, day 2, day 15, and it was really shitty, and I'm sure he thought I was petty as shit, which I was, and I accept that, but it helped me, and like other people like related, and I didn't feel so isolated and so alone. And that's the thing. You don't want to isolate yourself. You don't want to feel alone. You're not alone. Everybody has gone through a breakup before. Like, you're not the only person. Ugh, I'm like swallowing my hair. You're not the only person who's ever had their heart broken, which it might feel like, but no one's been do it like you, girl. So I gotcha. I get it. I think for you, the biggest thing to recognize is that no one knows what you're going through. Your relationship with your person was very much a you and them situation. As much as everyone loves to believe they know about our innermost relationship quarrels, they don't. I think we try to save face, and especially with social media, we don't want the person who broke up with us to know that we're hurting and that this is really affecting us. I'm gonna be honest, I think what saved me in my last breakup was my family. And my aunt and my cousin in particular, my light completely went out. Full Tinkerbell moment. I was dying. I was literally dying. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. It was horrible. Genuinely one of the worst experiences of my entire life. And my family, they were there for me. And as much as I tried to be like, oh no, like I can't come see you guys, like I'm busy, I'm working, like they got my ass every time. And they were like, hey, like we're making your favorite food, like you should come over for dinner, or hey, we're going to your favorite like place. Like it was always about me, and they saved me, and they gave me family when I wanted to be cool and I wanted to be Miss Independent, and I couldn't. I can never be more grateful from the support system that I have. And I know not everybody has it, but look for those people in your life to lean on. And if you don't have anybody, you have me. From the most be fucking for real sense. If you need me, I am here. We can FaceTime. I think in the beginning, solitude could be a really great thing, especially when you have those breakups that you weren't really expecting, and then you're like, what the fuck just happened? Sorry for cursing, but that's how you feel. And I think it's a tool, it's a resource. Allow yourself to grieve. And I say grieve alone because I know my girls, and when I'm upset and if someone does me wrong, they're ready to fight. Okay? They're gonna fight whatever man hurt me, whoever hurt me. And I love that. But sometimes before you need that support, you need to just sit in your shitty feelings for as long as you see fit. After you've been in an emotionally charged up relationship, whether you guys are fighting for each other and it didn't work, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of feelings, there's a lot of arguing, it can be exhausting. Like, let's talk about that. How exhausting a breakup is on our mental. The best thing for you to do is to take time for yourself and reflect on the situation. You have to check in with yourself. I feel like a lot of times we just try to move past things without reflecting, and I will insert a little story time here, a little moment here. When I started dating Eric, who's my current love of my life, I was still very much hung up on my ex. Like, when I say very much hung up on my ex, like a bitch was crying about him. And I thought I was ready to move on, and I met an amazing guy who I really liked, and I had to tell him, I was like, listen, I'm really struggling with my past, and I don't want to lose you, and I don't want to lose what we have, which was very selfish of me, but I had an amazing boyfriend who made it work. But these are things that I want to be honest about. Like, I thought I was going to marry my ex. Like, and you know, thank God I did not. And when you're at this point where you can laugh about it, we can laugh over drinks, but unpin back to what I was talking about before. Huge disclaimer before we get any deeper into this video. You have to recognize when you are ready to move on. Nobody can create that timeline for you. Nobody can say what that looks like for you when you're ready to move on. Because a lot of us think we're ready to move on when we are not. A lot of us hold out hope for our late love. We think we're gonna get back together, or we know that we're perfect for each other, and X and Y and Z, whatever you're dealing with. Another conversation I don't think people are ready to have in mainstream media is, what do you do when the person who you were gonna marry, the person that you were so sure about being with forever, leaves? What happens to that love that you have for them? What happens to those feelings, that future that you plan together? This is something that I have been going through recently because my first boyfriend is having a baby. I'm still kind of at a loss for words. And obviously we're adults now, and having a baby and being married is totally normal. But some days it catches you off guard. It is weird to see the person that you love moving on. You broke up with your ex, and now you see they have a new girlfriend they're posting about. Or even worse, you live in a small town and you run into him with the new girlfriend, which I don't know if that really happens. I feel like that might just be like a Hallmark movie moment, but if it ever happened to you, I didn't grow up in a small town, so it never happened to me. I think I want to encourage you and remind you that it is okay to have feelings for people who you are emotionally involved with. It's okay to care about what your ex is doing, because at one point they were your person and you did everything together. I think it's healthy. I think it's normal. Now, I do want to say, I think time heals everything, and you need to give yourself appropriate space to... You need to give yourself appropriate time and space to heal, because I literally had to text my ex-boyfriend. I was like, dude, you need to block me on Instagram because I will not stop stalking you. And I know it sounds crazy, but you can't say you're not doing the same thing. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, we all know you might have that extra secret account that you're stalking your ex on. It's okay. It's just time will heal. Something we don't talk about is how do we move on from that life, that future? And I think even in the grieving process of a relationship, you have to let go of the life that you thought you were going to have. It's really fucking hard, and no one prepares you for those moments when your life changes before your eyes, that engagement you had to call off, that, divorce you had to sign off on. No one talks about what happens next. Everyone always talks about the breakup, and everyone always talks about going through the breakup, but what about after? How do we get our lives back on track? What happens next is that you will move on in time. Eventually, you will begin to crave that love that you once had. I want to pull out my Gilmore Girls reference for the first time in this video, but not for the first time on this channel, and Rory Gilmore the fuck out of your life. I want you to make a list of your goals and your aspirations, and honestly almost a bucket list of what this next life will look like for you. I think it's super important that you have a visual representation of what you're looking for before you get back out there, because I think when we go from one relationship into the next, especially if you were in a toxic relationship, and odds are you don't know you're in a toxic relationship until much later. Some of us knew. Like, I knew I was in a toxic relationship, but I thought it wasn't that bad until I realized, bitch, that shit was really bad. Anyways, I think breakups are when we are the most vulnerable to repeating patterns and repeating cycles, and I don't want that for you. I want you to find your person. I want you to date and find love and experience everything really that life has to offer you. But most importantly, when it comes to dating, when you're vulnerable, that's when you get taken advantage of. And when you just got your heart broken and you meet somebody new, that's when the cycle of toxicity will repeat itself again and again and again until we recognize it and do something different. To avoid jumping from one dumpster fire to the next, you're gonna wanna be religious about your list, okay? This list is your 10 commandments of things that you are looking for, things you're not settling for, what you want in your next relationship. Yes, you wanna put yourself out there, but you don't wanna make exceptions. You don't wanna settle. I'm so sick and tired of the baddest bitches I know settling for trash ass men in relationships. Like, that's my major ick of today. And I promise you, when you have a list and you're on a date and you are reflecting on your date and you look back at your list and you'll be like, ooh, he doesn't have X, Y, or Z, drop him then. Please. Please. It is so much easier to leave before you have an emotional connection with somebody. So on that first date, really ask questions, do your due diligence, and if it's not aligning from there, stop, drop, and roll the fuck out of that situation, okay? Because God forbid I see one more baddie dating a bum from her high school because the love of her life dumped her. Ladies, I was on Facebook and one of my friends is dating a guy from high school, and I'm like, no. Like, you went to college, like, you're a baddie, like, why are we settling? Last thing I want to talk about today, because I feel like I've been all over the place, but breakup boundaries. I wanted, before I filmed this video, to kind of come up with the tips and tricks that I felt like were the best, but I realized that that's not what this video was for. This video was just for you to know that you are not alone in this, and that there's other people who've gone through shitty things too, and that eventually things will be okay. So when it comes to this breakup boundaries, I have a couple of bullet points. They're nothing crazy or nothing fancy. but I'd like to share them with you. There are a couple conversations I want you to have with yourself, have with your friends, talk about it, think about it, but these are some things that I want you to have answers for in your post-relationship era. I don't know why I'm calling everything an era. It's Taylor Swift's fault. I'm not responsible. It's Taylor. How long after a breakup do you want to start seeing other people? This is a question you have to ask yourself, because is it instantly? Are you getting right back out there? Are you waiting 6 months? What works for you? Are you getting on dating apps? Are you trying to find someone organically? Like, what's your strategy for really getting back out there? Like, what are you doing? It can go two ways. I think if you're not ready and you get on a dating app and you don't get matches and you don't feel desired, or you're matching with the wrong types of people and they're just looking for a fling and you're looking for something serious, I think it can cause a major blow to the ego. And I really think when you're already down in the dumps, you don't need any more blows to the ego, okay? We're already depressed enough. Are you gonna stay friends with your ex? I think that's a great question. A lot of couples like to be like, oh, we'll be friends. Well, then cut that bitch off. At least in my opinion. Sorry. This is supposed to be objective. When going through a breakup, especially in the moments after the breakup, during the breakup, when the conversations of, are we gonna stay friends? Are you gonna block them on Instagram? All that. Give yourself time to reflect. And I wish that was something I would have done instead of like overreacting to hell and back like a demon possessed me. I am the biggest overreactor of all time, and I'm probably the pettiest person, especially the pettiest ex-girlfriend that you could ever have. Figure out your game plan. Are you doing no contact? Are you blocking them? Are you being friends? Was it something where you needed time to heal from it, but you guys could be friends again in the future? Because me and Juan, who's one of my ex-boyfriends from high school, so really it's not relevant. Now that I have 3 college degrees, high school boyfriends, I feel like, are a thing of the past. But him and I are friends, and I love him so much platonically because we were really close friends in high school, and we dated for like a month, and it didn't go well. And I was like, well, I don't want that relationship to just burn up in flames, which it did, because again, I'm toxic. But six years later, I circled back around, and I wanted to be part of his life. I feel like it's just natural to want that. But you need to decide what works for you, because you don't want to be going back to them because you're friends. And there needs to be boundaries in place if you are friends with them, because I don't think being friends with your ex is a red flag. It might be, depends on the ex, but overall, whatever. My ex and I broke up almost 2.5 years ago, and I am just now at the point where the thought of him does not make me want to poke my eyes out with a knife. You probably thought I was gonna say something nice there. I didn't have anything nice to say about him at all. Still don't. But maybe one day I will. With that being said, thank you guys so much for listening to my heartbreak hacks video. I hope I was able to help you guys. And if there's anything that you need from me, any questions, any comments, if you just want a girl chat it up, please leave a comment in the description box or the comment section. Leave a comment below and we can link up. I'm here for you. I love you, and I'll see you next week with another video. Bye.